biggest voter suppression I've ever seen. And that's why I told, I think it was Channel 32, that he's a coward. He did not want to face me head up. He knew that I was going to dominate in that room. And that's why he did not allow my residents inside of the building.
We have a conspiracy. Well, according to Tiffany Henyard, she believes that this is a plot to take her down. Not the fact that she's been doing a lot of things wrong. She believes, and her team, as you see right here, they believe that this is a complete setup.
Y'all make time for mess, but won't make time for the business that needs to be conducted here in Thornton Township. That is the problem. That is the facts. That is what's going on right now in your own backyard.
So you know what? Let's strap in, because this is some crazy political drama that's happening here. Much better than reality TV. I have to say so myself. Tiffany Henyard, after being completely shut down in Thornton Township Caucus, is claiming that there's a full-blown conspiracy against her. And look, while conspiracies are not new in politics, we're going to break this down like a bad movie plot, skeptically, but with the understanding that at this point, this is politics. It's messy by default. The authorities haven't came in. We still don't know what's going on with the FBI. Don't know what's going on at all. So now this is just pure politics and a bunch of back and forth, but let's get into it. So Tiffany Henyard had a special board meeting earlier today or yesterday, depends on when I release this video. And Henyard's main problem, her main gripe, is the trustees. Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle didn't show up. They apparently pulled another Houdini act and not showing up for these scheduled meetings. Henyard says that this gridlock has left essential township operations at a standstill. No insurance, unpaid bills, and services like food deliveries for seniors are hanging in the balance.
We have essential services that are at stake. One, being the insurance. I have mentioned this at a previous special meeting that no one attended. I have scheduled several special meetings and no one has attended. And that's my problem that I have with all of this gridlock, this political theater. People have been going to other people's board meetings, but yet you send an email to Thornton Township stating you cannot attend, that you're out of town. You went out of town last night when you was at District 149 board meeting, Trustee Chris Gonzalez. Y'all make time for mess, but won't make time for the business that needs to be conducted here at Thornton Township.
So this is basically a political stalemate, a gridlock. And the main reason why the trustees are not there is because they're waiting until, I believe, December 9th. I'm not exactly sure, but they're waiting 30 days after Jerry Jones, the previous trustee, left, so they can have a consensus vote for the new trustee instead of having Henyard just pick whoever she wanted. They don't want her to have another rubber stamp vote, so they're waiting for that time to pass. However, Trustee Carlisle and Trustee Gonzalez did vote via email, and Tiffany Henyard is absolutely losing it over these emails by these trustees. She's calling it illegal and said the Attorney General and township lawyers have already backed her up. According to her, these emails are as valid as monopoly money in real estate deal. Votes need to be done in person during actual meetings and not fired off in the email.
They send emails when we have been told by the attorney, told by the AG that you cannot and will not do a consent vote. But yet they still say do a consent vote. That is illegal, guys. Did you hear me? Illegal. We cannot do anything as it relates to sending a vote via email. So when they ask you to do that, you should say, hey, why are y'all saying to do something illegal through email? You guys should always come here and say yes or no as represent to your vote, because it doesn't matter what someone feels about someone up here. What matters is you came here to do your job, you executed your vote, and you said yes or you said no.
So Henyard claims that the trustees are intentionally skipping meetings to gridlock the townships. No votes, no decisions, and no services. Seniors are not going to get any food. Transportation is on a pause, and the whole place is basically stuck in neutral because of these situations. And Henyard didn't hold back. She's calling the trustees pawns of Illinois Senator Napoleon Harris and Thaddeus Jones, the mayor of Calumet City. So I just made a video about Thaddeus Jones. It's probably going to be released before this video comes out. So that guy's pretty corrupt. Now, State Senator Napoleon Harris, he is apparently going to be running for township supervisor. Actually, he was there with that gavel shutting down Tiffany Henyard. So there's a lot of issues going on right here. According to Henyard, these two are pulling the strings to sabotage her leadership. She's throwing words out like manipulated, puppet masters, painting a picture of a township board turning into a chessboard where she's the piece everyone is trying to checkmate. not the fact that she's been bringing a lot of this upon herself.
Unfortunately, our board has been manipulated by the powers to be, and I've been saying this, and I'm continuing to say this. I told you that the board gets their order from Thaddeus Jones, he's the mayor of Calumet City, and Napoleon Harris, he's the senator and the committeeman. I keep telling you this, and you need to pay attention to what's going on in your own backyard.
Now let's talk about the caucus, because this is where the accusations really heat up. Henyard claims that her supporters, many of them were seniors, were left freezing outside the building. So voters in wheelchairs, I don't know, oxygen tanks, I probably weren't that there, but they were stuck outside in the cold because allegedly Napoleon Harris and his team did not want them inside. So she's accusing him of doing some villain level behavior in a bad political theater movie.
You got video footage of everything. You got video of me going inside saying, hey, we're here. And they said they had a party at 5 o'clock. So we got there at about 4:30. Some got there right before 5. When we tried to enter into the building, they told us we cannot come in because they had a party going on at 5 o'clock. Residents from throughout Thornton Township showed up in drones. We had buses out there, cars, you know, it was super cold. And I ran into you outside, and I was out there with them. They didn't even let me in. So when I did try to go in originally around 5, they told me they had a party and we cannot enter into the building. I asked, can you please let the residents inside the building? They said, no, they have a party. I said, but this is our residents. Let them in. They said, no, they did not register for the party.
My biggest problem with the caucus was the fact that there were people on the inside that was not from Thornton Township. There was children on the inside yelling and voting. We never had the opportunity to properly vet anybody that was in that party. They let people in from 4 o'clock through side doors, and whoever else was in there, many of those people did not live in Thornton Township. Should not have been in the building participating in the caucus.
I also want to lay the fact that you must be qualified, meaning be a resident of Thornton Township. Napoleon Harris is not a resident of Thornton Township.
Henyard and her team claim that they have video evidence of this voter suppression, and she's planning to take it to court. But like I said in the last video, it wasn't just Henyard supporters that were locked out. A lot of anti-Henyard supporters couldn't get in either. And if that's the case, it muddies the water and makes the whole thing look like more of a logistical problem than a target conspiracy. And speaking of Napoleon Harris, Henyard accusing him of running a rigged caucus. She said nominations weren't even allowed to happen properly. According to her, Harris just nominated himself in his slate, and that was that. No votes, no debate, just thanks for coming, the door's over there. If this is accurate, again, according to her, this is less like a caucus and more like a coronation.
Was your name ever on the ballot? Did they ever actually, say Tiffany Henyard and they vote on it, or no?
No, no one had the opportunity to basically be a nominee, and that's where they messed up at. You're supposed to allow anybody that wants to run for office the opportunity to nominate themselves, let alone a slate, let alone anybody in the room can say, hey, I nominate myself for supervisor, I nominate myself for clerk, but they didn't give anybody the opportunity to do that. He only nominated himself and his wrong. And I was fighting for my people to get in the building because it was cold outside.
But let's pause for a second, because here where things get a little ironic. Many of the tactics Henyard is accusing her opponents of doing, locking people out, changing venues last minute, manipulating meeting logistics, are the same ones she's been accused of as the supervisor of Thornton Township and the mayor of Dalton. Remember when she changed the locks on her own assessor office?
Cassandra Elston has been the township assessor here in Thornton Township for the past 10 years. This morning she got a call from her staff saying something weird was going on at the office, and we talked to her about what happened next. Take a look.
This was your office?
Yes.
What happened when you tried to open it?
It doesn't work.
The lock got changed?
Yes.
That's right. Thornton Township Assessor Cassandra Elston got locked out of her own office, what appears she believes to be retaliation from Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
Or locked out Keith Freeman, the administrator, or shuffle venues last minute to throw off her critics. Yeah, those moves are coming back to bite her now. It's almost poetic how she got caught up. And plain and simple, she got played. It's a classic case of what goes around comes around. She's dealing with the same roadblocks that she once used against others. Unfortunately, politics is an extremely brutal game, and especially in Illinois. And when you build a strategy around isolation and power plays, you better be smarter than everyone else, because someone can flip the script on you. So Henyard is spinning this as a hostile takeover in her words. Napoleon Harris and Thaddeus Jones have formed some form of shadow government trying to take her from power. Her head, I'm sure, is plausible, right? Politics is full of backroom deals and alliances, but is it provable in court? That is the taller order. Without hard evidence, this sounds more like blame the system defense to explain her loss. And the fact that she didn't know all the things that she needed to do to win the caucus. Henyard is taking aim at Harris directly, calling him a coward who avoided a fair fight. According to her, if Harris thought he could win, he'll have her supporters in. Instead, she says he blocked the doors because her base is too strong. Again, that's a bold claim, but again, it's going to need true receipts like video, witness testimony, something concrete if she's trying to convince anyone beyond her inner circle. So, as we see, probably suing is Henyard's next move, and it may be her only move. She's banking on the courts to undo what happened at the caucus, but that's going to be an uphill battle. To win, she has to prove intentional voter suppression, not just incompetence. That's a tall order, especially when she's up against seasoned politicians that actually knew what they were doing, like, I guess, Napoleon Harris, right? Who knew how to navigate these issues. Plus, there's the issue of the certified assessor, or lack thereof. Harris's camp claims that Henyard's slate wasn't valid because she didn't have a certified assessor requirement for the ballot. Henyard says this is nonsense, arguing that the nominations were never properly conducted, so how could her slate be invalid?
An attorney for Mr. Harris says you were not qualified because you didn't have a certified assessor on your ticket. What do you say to that?
That's not true. How would anybody know that if you didn't give me an opportunity to make my nominations? People can't just assume what they think I have. I have to make the nominations on the floor before someone can say that I didn't have some. That's not true.
This is definitely a back and forth thing. Hopefully the courts can untangle all this and make some clear definition on what is going on. It's going to be tough to untangle this without clear evidence coming from Henyard. Going back to the gridlock at the Township. Let's not forget, gridlock isn't exactly rare in politics. Sometimes it's about the personal grudges or power plays rather than just grand conspiracies. Henyard's critics argue that she's made plenty of enemies herself, which might explain why the trustees are so unwilling to work with her. After all, politics is a team sport, and when you alienate your team, don't be surprised when they don't show up for the game. So this is the press release that was given to all of the people from the press. Shout out to Critical Smoker that sent this to me. Really, really appreciate it. But this is where they have it right here. This is the conspiracy against Tiffany. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but as you see, Senator and Committee Man Napoleon Harris, along with his DOTT board, conspired to manipulate the caucus proceedings by hosting a so-called private function prior to the official caucus. A letter from the DOTT organization signed by Committeeman Harris clearly stated that the doors would not be open for the caucus until 6:30. We were present at the 4 o'clock hour. However, during this private function, Harris, his DOTT organization, and their attorney, Mr. Olison, allowed hand-picked individuals to enter the facility through side doors. Many of these individuals were not properly vetted, and many of them were not even residents of the township. So again, this is some really big accusations being thrown out here. These are examples they post about voter suppression. So they're saying it's unfair rules for targeting Tiffany Henyard. They say it's venue manipulation, peripheral treatment inside the venue, blocking non-supporters from entering, selective entry through side doors, delayed vetting process, public exclusion here, unlawful exclusion of other nominees, failure to properly vet participants, election manipulation by DOTT organization. These are really big accusations being thrown out over here. They also provide a timeline of the events leading to Thornton Township's lack of insurance. As you see right here, just showing that they're communicating, and obviously some of these board meetings were boycotted by trustees, allowing the issue that they have now where they may not have insurance for the township. And here's the timeline of some consent emails, even though it says it's been denied by lawyers because they cannot be allowed. So here's a timeline for that they provided to the media as well. And a special shout out to Critical Smoker for providing this information and providing the streams as always. Please subscribe to his channel. He's doing great work out there. Henyard is pretty desperate at this point, and the township is in complete chaos. So there's a lot of things that are at risk, and the board is in this deadlock, and obviously the political pressure is through the roof. Henyard is fighting for that, again, $250,000 salary that she's potentially losing. Can she prove that she's a victim of a rigged system? I doubt it. You know it's going to go to the court, and this is the world of politics where sometimes truth takes a back seat to perception. And right now, the perception as the township is in a complete chaotic situation, and Henyard is at the center of it. So we know that this saga is far from over. Stay tuned because you're sure there's going to be more information coming out at this point daily. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.